Now tuning in to Earbud Media. Audio for everyone.
Just creeping inevitably closer to our fucking 5-year anniversary now that it's November.
Ugh, stop. Gross.
No, I will not. I will not. I will just continue to bring it up because it is the fact that this show could be starting kindergarten is no. It's truly fucked up to me. I hate it. And it makes me nervous inside a little.
Totally, for sure.
I know who this show is. I know the personality that it holds. And I also know that if this show as a little human went to kindergarten, I don't think you would make friends very well.
Yeah, well. You know what we should do for our 5-year, in addition to just have a blast, as we always do on this program?
In addition to secrets?
Yeah, sure. We should look at our show's birth chart.
Oh my god. Okay. Like when the episode dropped or when we had that weird brain crack call?
Whatever feels right to you.
Let's do when the episode dropped. Yeah. The first episode. Yeah. That feels appropriate.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Hell yeah.
I love that.
Fuck yeah.
Amazing. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. This is basic, and we've kind of talked about this previously, or you talked about it previously at least, but I'm back on my Animal Crossing bullshit. And I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to be basic. Welcome. I'm not afraid. This is my truth. Because...
Stand in it.
I'm standing in my truth because after so many years of my life of waiting, my man Brewster is back, baby.
He is back.
He's back. He will not let me be a barista, which is fucked up and cruel. Because that was my favorite part of New Leaf. No
That's
joke.
Fair.
But, other than that, he's home.
Yes.
And I'm vibing, and I'm having fun with this game, which I haven't touched in months. As most of us, I feel like, we're in the same predicament. So much so that you just nuked your island, which is another thing. I did not do that because that seems like a lot more work than I wanted to do.
Yeah, well.
Thank you. I can't wait to cook. I want to cook so bad.
Oh my god. I love it so much. Cooking has been my personal favorite part. I mean, I love Brewster. I love that he gives me scalding hot coffee.
Right.
I love that I have to down it in one sip and then he's like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's like, that's it. Get out.
You are allowed to sit in the seat for approximately 2 minutes and now you must leave. But yes, the cooking is by far my favorite part because that was when I was playing New Horizons in the Past Me.
Yeah.
When Past Me was playing.
Right.
In the before bits.
Yeah.
That was what I wanted the most was to actually use the kitchen that I had created in my home.
Yeah.
And now I can, and I love that a lot. And all of the recipes are just so inventive.
They all look so delicious. I want to eat everything.
Oh my god. There's one, and I haven't gotten it yet, but there's a pretzel that looks so good, and it made me I wanted a mall pretzel more than I could just describe.
Yeah.
It's criminal. I've loved it. All of the little details are amazing, and I've been enjoying it. I think even though some of you might have, been too cowardly to restart your island.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Not brave enough per se.
Sure.
And you decided to go and
not ready
face
to make
your
a girl
islanders.
boss move like some others could have,
Yeah, you wanted to go and face your islanders after months instead of, ignoring them and just starting over.
Sorry I had the strength in me to look them all in the eye and said, yeah, it's been 3 fucking months. And even then, and right before then, it was 2 months. And fuck it, you know what? I'm here, motherfuckers.
There's no way. Yeah, no, it's been a joy. Having something consistent, and I think it's good.
It's so good because in the early days, I had a morning routine of just doing my silly little tasks, and doing that, and I totally went off. But now that I'm back in the groove, I'm like, ooh, I'll do my silly little tasks. I got things
I need to
do.
go weed.
Yeah, I gotta like go pay off a debt, and I gotta like, you know, harvest some pumpkins that I've been growing, or shake some trees, or go buy a cool painting. And I'm like, yeah, this is it. We're back, baby. So yeah, I'm feeling the vibes. Who knows how long it'll last? Hopefully long.
Hopefully long.
But we'll see.
I'm not getting my hopes up this time.
Yeah. But you know what? I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, I'm doing it for my mental health.
Yeah, exactly. This is a preventative, like just a maintaining of serotonin, you know, just leveling it out.
Whereas I feel like the last time that I was playing Animal Crossing, it was just a fucking, like, life vest.
Yeah.
It was just a life preserver.
Yeah.
In a time of uncertainty. Sure. And now I'm like, well, it's been 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, I know enough of, you know, what's going on.
Right.
It's not good, but I get it.
It doesn't feel like an all-consuming abyss as much
Yeah,
anymore, so
I'm not going to pour my heart and soul into this game because it's the only thing that's consistent anymore.
Yeah.
And if I stop this, that means I'm a failure.
Right.
Right? Because that's not healthy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's just a great way of thinking about things.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of you. Welcome back.
Thank you. Yeah. I faced it all, and I'm here, and I'm living on island time, and we're having
God
a great
bless.
time. How are you doing, my dude?
Oh, I'm living.
Fuck yeah.
I'm back in the, like, corporate world.
Let's go, girl boss.
So
a woman in STEM, some could say.
I am officially a woman in STEM.
Woman in STEM TM.
Yes, you do have to add the TM.
Yeah.
Which has been great. I do have an update for you that since last week, I took your recommendation immediately.
Thank God.
To watch Tampa Base.
Which also, listeners, if you are a long-term listener of this podcast, you know never happens.
No, that does not.
Never.
That does not.
And I've recommended probably 1,000 things to Allie over the past 5 years.
It usually takes...
This is maybe the only thing that she is actually, after me saying it, goes, all right, yeah, and then does it.
Yeah, on a good day, months.
Right.
On a bad day,
years.
Years. I'll forget. I'll start something, recommend it to Cody, and they're like, what the fuck? I told you about that.
Yeah.
But when this last happened, it was like stormy as shit, and I had nothing else to do. And I was like, well, might as well start this.
I need a little sunshine in my life, you know? I
needed some sunshine, and so that was great.
Fuck yeah.
So, but I ran out of that quickly. Uh-huh. So I needed something else to watch. And I have a show that I'm bringing to the space this week.
Very excited.
It is unfortunately going on right now. So I'm going to sell you on this show.
Sure.
Not because it's advertised. This is not an advertisement.
No.
But I'm going to sell you on the show because it's everything that I love in life.
Okay.
But I don't want you to get your fucking hopes up and be like, yes, I'm going to watch all of this right now. Because I got my hopes up and then there was only one episode.
Okay, so we're getting really early reactions
So
here.
you are going to get in on it.
Yeah.
The show is called Yellow Jackets.
Okay.
All I knew about it, all that was told to me is it was a show about soccer and Colts.
Okay.
And I was like, okay.
I'm in. Yeah. That's a great pitch.
That is literally all I needed.
Yeah.
The best part is that it's so much better than this.
Ooh.
The premise, based on the first episode, is that it goes between 1996 and present day.
Okay.
Of this this soccer team that is flying to nationals.
Sure.
Like from Jersey, flying to nationals in Seattle to compete. They're amazing.
Great.
Their small town hates their guts because they're women playing soccer.
Sure.
And this team, we're finding out just a little bit fruity, has some like major secrets. We don't know what they are yet, but they're kind of hinted at.
Sure.
And throughout this, when it's switching to the present day, there's these little clips of like the women that we see that were on the soccer team are immensely fucked up.
Great.
Something has gone on. There's like news clips that we see in like People magazine that one of them's holding. Mm. There's like journalists that are coming up to their door being like, you've never told your story before. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that's said is that, like, during the flight to nationals, again, from Jersey to Seattle, is their plane crashes, a la Lost.
Okay.
In the remote wilderness. It's saying north. I'm assuming it's, like, in Canada. We don't know yet. Mm-hmm. And it's not said so far, but it's very overtly like said that there's some sort of like cult cannibalism thing happening.
Cool.
If that was not enough to pique your interest.
Yeah, please tell me more.
The main cast in the present day includes Christina Ricci.
Great.
Juliette Lewis.
Okay.
Which I was like, hello? My mom? What are you doing?
My mother?
My mom's here? What are you doing here? And last but certainly not least, Melanie Lynskey, which you might know if you were anything like me, from my personal favorite movie, Coyote Ugly.
Oh, fuck yeah. Yeah, I'm sold.
It's a very interesting, like, pilot. I was hooked from, like, the first clip I saw.
Yeah. And I will just say, I have obviously not seen this television program, but from the photos you have tweeted / put in our show notes, everyone in like the 90s crew has like the best hair I've ever seen on television.
Oh my god. And every time that they're in the 90s, it's like all fucking jock jams. It's like every song that you love from that time period. It's so good.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend watching it because like it's still going on right now. Very curious. I have no idea where this is going, but I'm hooked.
Yeah, fuck yeah. That sounds great.
We have just a little bit of current events.
In a moose-bouche.
Just a little bit.
Taste.
Yeah. Both of which I think are relevant to our main course of Spencer.
Yes.
Here.
Our feast.
Our feast, yes. The little bit here, our first, is just a recap or an addition about Jamie Dornan and Belfast.
Our man.
It seems like he is starting or continuing his press tour for this. And this piece from ET Online is very much hitting on the fact that, like, Jamie Dornan is very happy that this movie is going to change people's perception that he is not the 50 Shades of Grey guy anymore.
He is not horny anymore. He's a father, and he just does serious and or fun things now. No sex.
He's a dad.
He's a dad.
So, and he's playing a family man in this. It's in black and white, so you can't sexualize him.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Stop
so
it.
Don't even try, all right?
Which I think is an interesting turn of pace. I will say that when I went to go see Spencer, I wasn't sure what trailers I was going to get. I assumed very, like, Oscar-worthy
Oscar
shit.
buzz. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of them was Belfast, and I haven't seen a movie in theaters in a really long time.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen the trailer for Belfast yet. It looks good, like, properly good.
It does look quite good.
And I think that not just is that, like, a massive change from Jamie.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't think you still haven't seen Barb and Star.
Yeah.
Yes?
Whoops.
Okay. So aside from that, like, his more, like, prestige stuff, I guess, has been very crappy lately. And so I'm excited to see this as a change of pace. But I also feel like this is some damage control for Miss Jellicle Cat herself.
Miss Jellicle Cat. Not like this.
But I'm also very excited to see him not have to pretend to speak. Like, he gets to use his actual voice.
Right.
In this.
Actual accent. And not be stifled.
Yeah.
From his true being.
He gets to be his true self in this. Maybe not even acting, per se. We'll see.
I do love in this piece, though, that they make it a point to be like, well, Jamie Dornan's harshest critics are actually his two daughters who make fun of him every time he sings around the house. It's like, hell yeah. Love that.
As they should be.
The children that scammed him out of like $300 American dollars to rent Trolls World Tour when he could have just got a screener because he was in that movie famously.
He's a literal movie star.
But you know what? I love it.
Yeah, that's how it should be. That's how it deserves to be.
Yeah.
But also, you know, good on him for trying to desperately and continuously change his image. You know? Go off. Would you like to introduce us to just a little bit more Case Do engagement news?
Absolutely. We are hot off the engagement train, and we're going to keep chewing along.
Thank you.
As far as it goes. Thank you. No, thank you. Thank you.
No, thank you.
And thank Kristen Stewart.
Yes, always.
This piece comes to us from Teen Vogue, in which...
Hi, Teen Vogue.
Which is also a repurposing, I suppose, of a Vanity Fair piece. So whatever, all media is the same, whatever.
Go off.
But essentially, Kristen Stewart talking about her wedding plans and just wanting to like have a chill vibe at her wedding day.
As she should.
And to quote, wear the best pair of Levi's ever and like an old t-shirt that has a tuxedo printed on it.
God bless.
And I want that in my life so bad. Like, I can picture it. My brain, it's there. My mind palace, it's in here. But I need it to be real because that is so good.
Yes, 100%. There's two very clear things that I could see for her and Dylan's wedding.
Yeah.
Is one, a very private but expensive as shit wedding.
Yes.
Because of the sponsorship that she does with Chanel.
Yeah.
And so it's like she could essentially wear whatever she wanted for that, right? The other thing, which she describes, and I feel like is more accurate, is jeans just out of her closet.
Yes.
And a tuxedo shirt.
So
and
good.
it's just either like at an Airbnb or on the beach or at in Vegas.
In
like,
Topanga, as she says.
Right, exactly. Like just in the middle of wherever is meaningful to them.
I love this because I want whatever's best for them, and I think that's a very fun, chill vibe. But also like that picture of like K-Stu wearing just a pair of Levi's and a printed tuxedo t-shirt and Dylan wearing whatever the fuck she's wearing. Who knows? And then also Guy Fieri. It's like the perfect storm and like a very beautiful Chanel sponsored, expensive as fuck. Who knows? It's just like, mwah, I need it. I love it. I want to be there. I will not, obviously, but I would like to.
Right.
I just let me in. Let us in.
Yeah, I think both of them feel accurate, but I think as Kristen says, the Levi's one just feels far more appropriate.
Yeah.
For who she is at this time in her life.
Yeah, she's a Levi's girl. And who are we to deny that? Yeah.
Right, exactly. She just wants to get married in a chill way with as little stress as possible and have Guy Fieri there.
Right.
Is this so hard?
Come on, America.
Fam?
Get with it. Let's go.
Exactly. That's what we're just trying to say here.
Celebrities, they're just like us.
Celebrity. Hey, they are. Speaking of which, celebrities being just like us.
Okay, segue.
Should we talk about both the most relatable and also the most unrelatable movie in quite a while, Spencer?
Absolutely. Well, it's Spencer time, baby.
It's Spencer time.
I can't believe we're here, you know? Because we've been waiting for what seems like forever. And I've been talking about this nearly every week for a year plus, probably. And we're here. We've watched it. We're ready to dish. And it's here.
I will say, fam, happy Monday. I'm going to look you and I'm going to hold your hand, if that's okay. If you did not heed my warning last week, this movie, if you don't know anything about Princess Di, hi. She's not alive anymore, first of all.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
To history.
Second of all, this movie, albeit, as it says very clearly in the beginning,
a fable.
Fake.
Yeah.
It's a fable. It's just taking its own liberties here. Yeah. Talks a lot about Princess Di and both her mental health issues and also her struggles with self-harm and eating disorders.
Yeah.
So
quite explicitly. So there's going to be talk about that. And it's
yeah. If you're not cool with that, hey, same.
We get it. Yeah, totally.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
But it is impossible to talk about this film or Diana, I would argue.
Right.
Without addressing those. So, because of the fact that the movie does not give you an explicit warning about that, now you know.
We've got it.
Do what you need to.
Proceed with caution and do whatever is best for you.
Yeah. Could you tell me about the atmosphere in which you saw this film?
I saw this film yesterday. I am hot off the Spencer press right now. I went to a theater I have not been to since Miss Newton, just weaved her way into here. It's like a little step up from like a Regal or an AMC kind of vibe, but it's still like not a art house kind of theater. But it was packed. And I've been to a couple of movies in theaters since things have started opening up again and since being vaccinated and all those things. But this was probably the most densely packed audience I've been in since all of that. Maybe one other was kind of similar, but yeah, it was the girls and the gays really showed up for this Discount Tuesday showing of Spencer.
God bless.
Yeah,
I love that. That is wild. So I saw this on Friday, and this was the first movie I have seen where here in the Seattle area, it's not required anymore for there to be like a seat open.
Yeah.
Between.
Same here.
And that's, first of all, wild, because I enjoyed that.
Right, that was actually pretty sick.
That was actually...
Regardless of any of this.
Yeah, I would prefer that in general. So that was odd. But also, we went to a movie theater that in general has like smaller theaters anyways. So it felt more dense. So it felt like there were more people in there than there might have been. Yeah. But there was specifically one person, I think 2 people behind me, that as they came in, they were talking. They were like, did you know that Kristen Stewart's in this? Like, when was the last time you saw Kristen Stewart in this? And I, like, my head whipped back. And I was like, did you ask me? Do you want...
Because I can tell you every motion picture she's been in the last 5 years. I can tell you
It has been my responsibility for my whole life to know that, so I can tell you. But it had been a really long time since I had seen a movie in person, and also one where there weren't almost like dividers between each row.
Yeah.
It was like this was like a regular movie theater. Right. And so there were a couple times where people got up to like refill their drinks, and it just felt so distracting. I was like, I am trying to watch this woman self-destruct. Can you not put your ass in my face? Please and thank you.
I'm trying to get swept away by this tragedy. Please.
Yeah. I'm trying to like see all of these delicate dishes be prepared. Please don't step on my toes. Thank you.
Yeah. Also, too, I feel like the theatrical aspect of it really does bode well for the film because it is such a like claustrophobic inducing movie.
Yes.
Like it is a very like tight, like holding your breath kind of film that's very stressful intentionally, obviously, but like it definitely does like make your senses heighten on everyone around you and like your own situation and where you are, you know. And it's just
I 100% agree. I think that I am a fan of movies being released at home on the same day as in theaters regardless. Because captions as of right now,
so many accessibility
open captioning
reasons, you know, like
open captioning was not available for this, and also Newton is a thing. But I think that one thing that added to the intensity of watching this was having to be masked while because I was acutely aware of not just my surroundings but of my breathing, and I don't know that would have come across in the intensity of the film. Like, the film would have been intense if I had watched it at home. Yeah. But I think that the timing and, like, the environment and the timing were weird. They complemented each other in a way that I don't know I would have noticed if I had watched this at home.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So that claustrophobic thing I noticed as well, and I was like, holy shit, like you can't really plan for that because of the fact that making a film takes so many years in advance. But it's just one of those things that I don't know that I would have said that for other films. Yeah. Like, you wouldn't be like, wow, the Jungle Cruise, like that really added to the atmosphere.
It's like I was there. I was on the cruise.
Right, exactly.
I am the big worm in Dune. That's me.
Oh God. Yeah. It wouldn't have hit as hard, I don't think.
Yeah.
The other thing right off the bat, aside from the fact that this is a fable.
Yes.
Which I think is important to get across, because like it doesn't say that in the trailer, and I think that is important that is an important like disclaimer right off the bat.
Yeah. And I think too, like movie. It's so good that he puts it out there in the front too, because I do think that like the way it's marketed and all those things, and just even the phrase "a Princess Diana biopic," you know, is like,
yeah,
it gives a certain amount of expectation there that is clearly what this movie is not providing. You know, it is not a traditional biopic in any sense of the word. It is very much fantastical and very much playing into a fairy tale / a nightmare sort of sensibilities inspired by a real person. And I think like a lot of people, especially like maybe a lot of older people that love Princess Di and are like just going to see a biopic, are not going to get that until they see that little warning
100%
from the jump, you know?
Yeah, it's just like, whoa. Like, before you watch this, before you get angry, you need to know this is a favorite.
Yeah.
Like,
don't
this
be
is
mad at
my
me
take
because
on
I
things.
told you.
Right. And I think that's critical for a lot of different things about this film.
Yeah.
Not just because of the fact that it's so much in 3 different days, or in 3 days consecutively.
Yeah.
But also, there's so many interpretations of those 3 days.
Yes.
And there's so much responsibility to tell that story. And I think that it was smart for him, because of the fact Pablo was like, hey, so I know that the crown is supposed to be like historical and truthful. Or
Yeah, whatever. Princess Diana is now canonically 6'3".
Yeah, and she's a fucking beautiful woman.
Absolutely.
We're going to have our own beautiful woman here. But also, we are going to tell Diana's truth. Is that the objective truth?
Right.
No. Because, you know, it is her personal truth.
Right.
And I think that is honestly, it's a smart way to market anything.
Right.
Because it's like, is it a fable? Maybe.
Right.
But it could also be her truth. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there's not really a specific way to have objective truth given what we see in this film, which is that she is going through massive breakdowns.
Yeah,
like
total psychosis. Yeah.
Yeah, and how would you be able to determine what is an quote like objective truth
Right.
in that moment?
It is really like a feeling first kind of film in that way.
Oh my God,
Like,
yeah.
And I think it is a pretty interesting like dichotomy, because like we're in a very weird like uptick of Princess Diana adaptations in this last year and upcoming year. Like, we have that stupid Netflix musical that I've not watched, but whatever. But, like, we have The Crown coming up, and then we have, like, all these different... And there's been, like, documentaries and, like, stuff from her own words kind of things. And so many ways that this story has been told. And it just feels like so much, and it can feel very overwhelming, especially for a story that we'll never truly know, quote-unquote, objectively, yes. Right? And, like, I think taking the lens and taking a pivot of, let's just, like... kind of pull out these like very guttural, very forefronted feelings that seem to be present from all of the actual historical things that we have witnessed and are knowledgeable about, and twist that and like sort of make our own assumptions and projections in a way that's maybe not too dissimilar from our own, but also could be very, who knows, is a really cool way to like just sort of shatter that weird bubble that we're in of just like, let's keep talking about Princess Di, which like I love, but also it does lead to a lot of like overlap in a way that I think this breaks from in a really cool way.
100%. Because I think that the saying its feelings first feels incredibly accurate. Because I think that that's so much of what this movie is.
Yeah.
I found myself quite a bit throughout it, like, I'm covering my face. And it's like my face was literally already covered. Mm-hmm. But it was just like, I wanted to just, like... hide.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that what I was witnessing felt so vulnerable that it was like, I'm not supposed to see this.
Yeah.
And so much of, I mean, there's obviously dialogue in this, but it's not a dialogue heavy movie.
No.
And I think that one of the reasons that I found that to be so successful is because of a lot of what we see is just emotions. And I don't know that for a lot of this, over those 3 days, a lot of these characters, and Diana specifically, is being intentionally isolated. So, like, there's not a lot that is being said aloud, but also it's becoming clearer to her that, like, one, words aren't safe.
Yeah.
And also, it doesn't seem like she is able to adequately like put her feelings into words. By the end, more so. But especially towards the beginning, it's just like, there's just so much that's almost just like pouring out of her.
Yeah.
And she's just like struggling to keep in, which sucks.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting on that point. Like, this is sort of a theme with Pablo Larraín's work over the last 5-ish years, right? Like, and also it's important to note that he famously doesn't really write his own films, usually. He is largely the director for the last couple of big films that he's done. He did not write Spencer. He didn't write Jackie, which is a very similar kind of movie. And
Sad Women.
Yeah, and Emma, and also, which came out finally this year, did not write that also. But the way that he directs all three of those, like, he is very good at pinpointing women on, to quote, like, on the verge of a nervous breakdown, like, that kind of vibe. And, like, having that singular, like, overwhelming, like, compulsion of it, I guess, is, like, in the way that there are secondary characters, and there are even, like, very prominent characters that are not the main, but like those feel really inconsequential to the just being inside the brain of these women, specifically Di in this. But like the way he does it is very interesting, and that laser focus on it that feels like very overwhelming and feels like all consuming, because like in similar ways that she cannot escape her own conditions and her own situation, you feel trapped in that by watching it in a way, which is very similar.
100%. Yeah, and I think that was something I didn't quite pick up on prior to watching this when we had looked at the casting, but it comes across really clearly when you're watching this, which is that all of the characters who you would consider to be massively more, quote, like, important than Diana are completely in the background in this movie.
Yes.
And it feels very intentional. Like, no, they were all cast, and these folks might be famous, but like, the folks that they cast for Charles, for the Queen, for Prince Philip, I don't know any of them. And even if I had, I don't know that I would have paid attention, because the way that this film is shot, you only really notice Diana, the two sons of William and Harry, and then obviously Maggie.
Yes.
That's there. And like Darren, obviously, because it's like the way I imagined it in a kind of like fucked up way, is very similar. It's kind of like the people who are in her like vision, like if you imagine like seeing out of Diana's eyes, it's like that those are the people that she can like see, and anyone else in her peripheral we don't really notice in there, which is I don't know that I've really seen that in a film before.
100%. Like, it feels very,
it's something that I like. The more that I had thought about it,
kind of
I enjoyed.
Feel very just like
just from like a crafting level.
Like,
but I will say this movie,
they just feel like they could be stand-ins for anyone.
It's fucking sad.
There's not really that saying. Yes, I mean, yeah, it's fully sad.
I mean, what I will say is there were quite a few points, more than I expected, where I did laugh. So I will give them that.
Oh my god, yeah. Case 2 is so fucking funny in this. And outside of being incredibly tragic and incredibly good, like, there are very good moments of levity in here that I think she carries very well. It's definitely the minority of this movie, but they are 100%. Welcome when they come, you know?
Yes. One of the moments that comes to mind for me that I loved, even though it is in and of itself a heartbreaking moment, is when she wakes up William and Harry, and it must be like late into Christmas Eve, and they're doing the like soldier bit with the candles.
Yeah,
it's
and they're
so
all just
good,
playing with each other and like trying to just forget everything and just being like, what Christmas presents? Like, what's your favorite part of being here? And they're like, I love being with my family. And she's like, I told you to tell the truth.
I think the reason why I loved it is like that to me is Kristen acting in a nutshell. It just felt like her.
Yeah.
And
very genuine, for sure.
There's not a lot of times in films nowadays where we get to see her with kids. Mm-hmm. And it in and of itself was so joyous.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a kid, if that was like a real memory that they based off of, that would have been like one of the best moments.
Yeah.
Especially that weekend, right? Because like that's a shitty holiday for kids.
Yeah, it seems like a bad time for everyone involved, but especially those kids.
Yeah, it just seemed so boring.
They're so cold and they're hungry. And they're just like not wanting to hang out with their weird family members.
Yeah. But near the end of it, it's just like especially there was I didn't write it down, but there was that part where Harry and Diana are like saying like, oh, I think she's sad about the past, and it's like, no, I think it's sad about the present.
Yeah.
And it was like, fuck, dude, like I can't deal with this right now.
It's so tender and so sad.
Yeah. And it's the way of describing it the way that she's being honest, but in using simple terms for them, just fucking broke me, dude. Yeah. It's just like, no.
I can't do this. I can't go on.
No, I cannot do this. So that killed me. There are like so many awfully tender moments in this. And I appreciate that. But goddamn if this thing isn't sad.
Like, God, it is overwhelmingly sad. I cannot stress that enough.
From the jump, just immediately, the fact that like the first thing that Diana says is like, where the fuck am I? Like,
yeah. So literally just gets lost because she wants to drive herself and doesn't want her security detail and just wants to fucking be left alone for a goddamn second and immediately gets lost. It's so good.
And that's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because the idea that she is what seems like theoretically next door to her childhood home.
Yeah.
Like, there's a field, right?
Yeah,
but
can
like
literally
next door,
see it though. Like, can see the fence, can see the home, all boarded up and sad looking.
And the idea that you have like lost your way back to your childhood home.
Yeah.
Is unfathomable to me.
Yeah.
Like that in and of itself is heartbreaking. And I think it's very clear in this how much the public loves her, which is the whole thing, right? Like, and is ultimately like the downfall of these 3 days.
Yeah.
But I think it is just so sad to watch this, knowing this is someone that the public, the general public anyways, relates to. They see this woman as like one of us, even though like the truth is that she was rich. Like she came from a rich family.
Yeah. Just a different kind and a very different circumstance.
Yeah, she's just not, quote, like royal in and of herself. And yet as soon as she gets there and like, you know, pushes it into the last possible minute to the fact that like the doors are fucking closed when she gets there. Is just like every possible piece of joy is just drained from her. Yeah. And it's just, man, that's relatable, but you don't want it to be relatable. Yeah. I was curious to know what your thoughts were on Darren and his whole like kitchen staff, because I was amazed by that.
Yeah, he is truly one of like the standouts for me in this, because
100%.
He is sort of like the only like adversary or liaison to any of Diana's fucking anything that she's feeling right now, because her own fucking husband doesn't give a shit, her own fucking family doesn't give a shit, like none of the guards of the staff except that new one who's kind of like sort of picking it up, but not the one that she was expecting to have, you know? And like is trying his best to like communicate anything to her, and having any sort of solace with each other. But like the way he like holds himself is so good, and the way that he's just like listening, really just having a space for her to just like talk shit and just like feel as worthless as she feels. He's just so good. I was just like, I couldn't stop looking at him. I was like, oh, and he just wants to make like the beautiful tart that she loves, even though she's not going to eat it and all those things. And like, it's just so heartbreaking, their dynamic.
It is, especially because of the fact that like he was trying to warn her about everything that she says here, and also trying to make it like adamantly clear to her that I think that was the part that like really broke me, is the fact that like when he says the staff sit there and they don't laugh at her.
Yeah. Oh,
like God. When they laugh at everyone else, but they don't laugh at her. They're worried about her. And I was like, dude, come on.
Don't do this
like,
to me.
Please don't do this. I think that was something I don't know that I was adequately prepared for, was like Darren and his whole team, and how like, really just like the military, like God, how
like
it was from the so
first
set up
fucking scene, and you see that like haunting fucking sign in the kitchen that's like, be quiet because they can hear you.
They're listening to,
and like that is something that is like echoed throughout the entire thing. But even just like establishing on that, being like, you can't fucking say shit without someone snitching, right? Like there is that like unnerving and unsettling like aura around everything that's just like, you can't actually be yourself, which is how Diana feels all the time being there, right? But like, especially in
and they
moments,
won't say it to your face.
No, of course,
they'll have someone else,
right?
Like,
they're gonna be coy, or they're gonna like pass on to someone else who's gonna rat you out or whatever. But like, even in moments where she does get sort of levity, like hang out with her young boys, or like having little girl talk with Maggie, and like all those things, like those things are now just like ammunition against her, because there's that constant thing, or even having her windows closed and like closed.
Oh my God.
Her, right? Like those are constant reminders that she is not herself, and she's not her own autonomous person, and she's operating under a system.
So that part fucking killed me.
God.
Like, so the idea, this home is like is fucking around it. There's a moat around it.
Yeah.
Like
it's supposed to be big castle. You know?
It's supposed to be fucking like impenetrable.
Yeah.
And yet there is this talk from the new dude who's like, we gotta keep shit under lock.
Y'all got paparazzi up in here.
There's paparazzi.
I'm here to just clean up and make sure that they don't see your giblets or anything. Like,
yeah. And rather than like us doing something about it, we're just gonna blame you.
Yeah,
because you're the problem here.
Yeah, because you make all the flashy headlines.
Yeah, and that is. The idea that how dare she have her windows, and she wasn't even having her windows open. It was like they have those fucking carpets, right. And then they have the like little sheer bits, and she had the carpet open and not the sheer bits. So it's like, come on, eat shit.
Yeah.
Like it's fine. But what killed me was when they like fucking stapled the curtains closed. I have never wanted to like rip off my skin more. I like wanted. I could not. I couldn't do it. I definitely that, and I mean the symbolism of the pearls throughout all of this really underscored the absolute claustrophobia that she's feeling.
Yeah, fully just throughout choked by all of this.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, right? Because like there's so much that's accurate. Like she is being like she is being squeezed by so many different areas, and then naturally when it's like you are never able to figuratively or literally exhale in a space where you don't feel safe, when you're not allowed to be yourself, that's going to manifest into like talking to your son on Christmas Day about if he like notices if you know your husband's mistress is looking at you. Like it's going to manifest into these paranoia thoughts, and it's unfortunate. And a bummer. So
Yeah.
One thing I definitely did not expect, both from the trailer or in general, was the whole Anne Boleyn.
Oh, Miss Anne Boleyn, let's talk about it.
That was a real, like, twist.
Yeah, featured player, Anne Boleyn, everybody. Welcome to the stage. Anne Boleyn is
way
here.
more than just, like, one-off dream.
Yeah, not like a vision. Like, multiple, like, motifs of Anne Boleyn being very deliberately involved in her breakdowns.
Yeah.
Which is like a good parable for sure. Like it makes, 100%. And the way that she contextualizes it and rationalizes it in her own brain, like makes a lot of sense because she feels just as vindicated and she feels like that is coming up next correctly, like in some sort of way. You know, she's not wrong, but it does like totally like further this spiral of paranoia and fully which is not incorrect, but does like not help, you know, her understanding of the situation. Reading that fucking giant Anne Boleyn book in bed every night, like
because like what else do you have to do? You know,
she's studying up, you know, she's just doing some
the
reading.
Queen's not gonna put TVs in here,
right?
You know, like there's not gonna not do anything fun.
Yeah, just do some light reading, you know,
just some light tome reading.
Yeah.
We would be remiss to talk about the fact that caught me off guard happily while watching this, and naturally based on the text that I got from you, caught you off guard.
Y'all, this movie's gay as fuck.
This movie is a fruity little fable.
Truly, honestly, more blindsiding than the literal visions of Anne Boleyn, the dead Anne Boleyn. Is Miss fucking Maggie, what is it, Sally Hawkins. Miss Sally Hawkins, my queen. We stand. Queen of the water, queen of the fish fuckers. We love to see it. It's am I wrong?
No,
Allie,
you're not wrong.
Am I wrong? Just at the tail end a little bit, just being like, because she's great in this. I think her character and her performance, I think, is really solid because she's, again, like similar to Mr. Chefman, is like the only person she can freely talk to or have anything until she's like very much stripped away from that because they're talking too much.
Right, of course.
But so much more jarring than fucking Anne Boleyn just showing up from the crypt is her being like, yeah, I'm in love with you, like in the gay way, like in the fruity hand, my wrist is limp way, like I am signaling to you, yes.
Yeah, like
let's run away together, baby.
Water, like I want to take you to the ocean or to the sea and just confess my love to you.
Yeah, love it. Just
and the way that Kristen giggles, I cannot.
It seems like she's into it. You
literally,
know? Like the vibes.
Diana doesn't say no.
Diana does not say no. Diana's just like shocked in a good way. She's flattered,
just giggling and she's running on the beach.
Yeah, they're having fun.
And
she writes a little fucking love note to Di in her glove compartment, and she's like, hell fucking yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
One of the only times that we get to see, and also the fit Diana's wearing when she's at the beach.
Oh my God, so good. All of these fits are phenomenal. The costuming here is incredible.
It's amazing.
But when she is like able to be in her more casual fits, like when she's doing that dancing with like her sons in like the white turtleneck and the jeans,
oh my God,
you know, like when she's able to do like the typical like casual Diana looks, it's so good.
Yeah, when this goes out to more of a general public, TikTok's gonna fucking eat it up.
Yeah, it's over. The For Your Page is gonna be all Princess Di recreation fits again.
Because near the end, when Diana finally gets into her house and somehow doesn't die.
Yeah, miraculously, it does not die.
Because I, for a hot second there, thought that they put Fable there and Pablo was just going to let her die in that house.
Yeah.
Because it was not looking good.
Yeah.
There was that whole, like flashback montage moment And we get to see a whole bunch of different fits. Just lots of the dancing that the trailer talked about, but we hadn't seen any dancing so far.
Right. We hadn't seen, like, any context around them, too. And, like, she really does a full fashion show of all those fits of, like, dancing around, sometimes joyously, sometimes very stressed out, but in a way to, like, shake off the juju, I guess.
Including, but not limited, the yellow suit that we had seen in
good. With
the
that
trailer.
Cool hat, that cool little hat.
Yeah, and I had been waiting the whole time. I was like, where is this cute little yellow number going to come from? And it was just in the flashback, and then ultimately lands up on the scarecrow.
Yeah,
which feels appropriate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did appreciate that because so much of the trailer was like running, dancing, and then it's ultimately like most of the movie is
very still and very like pin drop kind of vibes, and then you have that like one big moment of somehow an exhale, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Even though it feels not great to watch. You know?
No, it's not great.
Yeah.
There's most of it is just me like not being able to breathe because it's like, Diana, what are you doing with the wire cutters?
Right. Come on, put it down. Come on.
What the fuck are you doing with these?
I do appreciate too, on that note of you saying like thinking that she's gonna die in that house. I do like the way that this movie ends. Like in my heart of hearts, when I was watching her drive away with her boys in her car, I was like, Diana does not have a good track record with moving vehicles. I don't think this is gonna end well. And like I had a pit in my stomach like I've had the whole fucking movie, and I was like, oh no. This is too happy. This seems too good. Like of a
it was way too happy
ending. But they didn't end with anything like that. But I think it was
so happy.
Yeah, it was happy, but also like it's still that somber, melancholy feeling of like just that silence and that like empty space and sort of the realization of everyone and the realization of everything that happened over the weekend is like as sad thematically in that moment, you know, of that just being like, oh, we gotta like process this, and this is something that's just like gonna be a cloud over our heads for a while, and it could be the rest of our lives. However long
God, when she's got that hat on and she's staring at the bridge and it's just that like this is a moment of peace, but I also know that I just took you all after almost killing myself.
Right.
Like literally standing in front of guns.
Yeah. While y'all eat KFC.
Yeah, like there's this moment of peace where you all are eating KFC, which first of all, pause. No shade to William and Harry.
Yeah.
Who the fuck orders KFC with soda? Fine. But orange juice?
Yeah.
Too?
That's pretty psychotic.
That's literally
that's like kids do whatever you want. You have your own choices, whatever. But orange
yeah,
juice?
she's still standing there, not eating, even though she bought KFC for herself.
Yeah.
She's not eating it. She's standing there looking at the bridge, just knowing, like, I have so much shit to answer for when I get back. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't want to go. Yeah. Like, and it hurts, but it's like, the kids are finally like, damn, I get to eat. So that's not bad.
Yeah. I do think, too, it would be remiss to not talk about, like, the cinematography up in here and the production design.
Oh my God, yeah.
Because this was shot by Claire Mathon. I don't know how to pronounce. I don't know French. Whatever. Who famously did.
How dare you not know French?
Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and Atlantics, which were she really had a banger 2019, and her coming back out with this is great, and the way like the use of color here is very great, right? Because a lot of it feels flat, not in like a derogatory way or a way that's like not full of
it feels very appropriate
dimension. It feels appropriate, but there are like beautiful moments of color throughout here that are like jaw-dropping. Like even seeing that, like the still we've seen for the poster for the longest time has been her like hunched over with her big beautiful dress against like a black backdrop on the poster, which is gorgeous, and we were freaking out about it when it came out. But seeing it come to life in the movie and actually being against a bright blue tile bathroom and her leaning over a toilet, like the way that is framed, the way it is like like immediately brought up, like in the most jarring of ways, and like sort of melting that, you know, veneer, I suppose you have, like getting this elegant poster and then just seeing like it's actually a very deeper reality is like so good.
And that moment too, I have been pretty intentional because of not talking about a lot of the self-harm bits, just because like it's devastating.
Yes.
And I think that Keisu unfortunately does a very authentic job. There's a lot of moments, especially in the like after hours in the kitchen, that just fucking broke my heart. Like when the new guy comes down is like, "Oh, are you still hungry?" It was like, "Sir, I have spent years." Like, and I think maybe the first time that happens, when she gets like violently angry. It just, oh God. It's like, I am in therapy for this.
Yes.
For this exact thing. And so good job, I guess.
Right, you did it very successfully, for sure.
But I think one of the things that broke me during all of these things that are happening to Diana is in that when she is in the titular dress, in the tile bathroom, and she thinks Maggie's there. And it's not. It's the two women that she initially saw and talked to about the pearls. And just the utter, like, betrayal when she realizes Maggie's not there. First of all, fruity.
Yes.
Second of all, it was just heartbreaking to see. And I think that a lot of this movie feels like that, of just like this. She gets this like one moment of like someone's here. I can relax for a second, and then that's immediately taken away. And it hurts because it's supposed to.
Right. And it's like intentionally destabilizing for everyone involved. Right.
But naturally, if that is a feeling that you know personally, watching this is fucking hard.
Not great.
But I think that this movie does a good job in not just showing that on screen, but bringing that off screen, like making you actually feel that, which is not easy to do. So I think that I don't know that I could watch this again just because it hurts. But I think that this movie lived up to what I wanted. And I don't know, I would be shocked given that how much of this movie feels like a one-woman show. I would be shocked if she does not win an Oscar.
I think we're going to see a big sweep over the next couple awards shows, stuff like that, and hopefully that Academy Award, but who knows?
I mean,
people love to give historically, Academy voters love to give Best Actor / Actress awards to people that play dead famous people. So,
and they do love the
especially
royals.
If they're British, right? Especially if they're British, especially if they're royal. I think the odds are pretty good.
And not even that, like, we know that that's a shoo-in, but this is like, even if this wasn't Keisu, this is a genuinely good performance.
No, I mean 100%. Like, that's not knocking her, because she is fantastic in this. Like, truly, I believe that she is one of the best performances I've seen this year. But I do think it doesn't hurt that she's also playing someone that is very sympathetic to Oscar voters.
100%. And I think it's a testament to the fact that we haven't mentioned it at all. I completely forgot that she was doing an accent. Like, I think it took me like a couple of minutes, and then I was like, I was like, this is just Kristen.
It's truly a transcendent of her own, which I think is hard. Like, in other movies we've seen in her before this, like, it's very easy to be like, oh, that's Kristen Stewart, you know? Like, this, though, feels very much like she is, like, keyed in that way.
100%. Yeah. I completely agree. I mean, we joked about that $12,000 wig, but like, it did something. So
yeah, it did to communicate that she's hurt.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you know, good job to all involved.
Hell yeah. Claps.
And if you
Claps
want
all
us, good job. I understand why you got a standing ovation, and if you need us for Oscar coverage, we're here. So
we are available. So just think about it.
We will make time. Next week, though, we are back to our regular scheduled content.
Hell yeah.
We have chapters 7 and 8 of Frostbite, and when we left off, Miss Rose had gotten a fat black eye, so we get to see the ramifications of that.
Yeah,
so
it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. We have some fantastic patrons to thank.
Hell yeah.
Would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. Thank you to Katie Black.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Thank you to Kylie Minty.
Thank you to Alex Dornan.
Ooh. Thank you to Carrie Goldberg.
Shout out Mickey Meyer.
Thank you to Rebecca Cullen.
Ooh, 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 ooh.
Ooh.
Thank you to Mulch Gray. Mulch.
Thank you to our unofficial intern, Taylor Brown Town Lautner.
Yes. Thank you to Danae Swan.
Woo! Thank you to Jasmine Anastasia.
Thank you to Cassandra Bomer.
Ooh. Thank you to Megan Pattinson.
Ow, ow. Thank you to Cassandra O'Shea.
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 Spooks!
Spooks is crying in the background. I love it.
Spooks is really excited. He just
wants his voice to be heard.
He wants to say thank you. Thank you to Rachel Seeker.
Thank you to Alexandra Ozera. Ooh.
You almost have my name. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you to Aaron Weber.
Thank you to Clara Belikov. Ooh.
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 Thank you to Katya Karp.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Shout out Maddie Facinelli.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Thank you to Genevieve Morgan.
Thank you to my mom, your mom, all of our moms. Kelly Beck.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Thank you to Sophia Salinger.
Thank you to Laura 40.
Ooh. Thank you to Abby Penn.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Ooh.
Thank you to Catherine Hathaway.
Ooh. And last but certainly not least, thank you to Dan. Nope. Nope. Dan Zeklos.
Hell yeah.
There's two Z's next to each other, and I like to blend words together.
Sure. Shout out Dan. Hell yeah.
Thank you, Dan. I have a fan fiction here that is hot off the presses. It was sent in by Taylor Brown, downloader.
Mm-hmm. What twisted scheme has Taylor brought onto us this week?
From, I will say, a pretty fucking cursed little crossover section, Taylor. This is from the Garfield and Littlest Pet Shop crossover section.
Hey, Taylor? Hey.
So we're getting a little
off bounds, I would say.
A little
off sides here.
We are going.
I just want to reiterate how much we appreciate you and your good work here. But at some point, I feel like we're getting a little too off course here, Taylor.
You do great work for me because it means that I don't have to find fan fiction, but also what the fuck.
But at what cost, Allie? At what cost?
But also, yes. This is by All Genres Dead, Prague Alone Remain. That's all in one word.
Great.
This is titled Gesta Lasonorium, or The Deeds of Garfield and Blythe Baxter. Here is the summary for you. Garfield the cat, in case you were unaware, is somehow transported from the comforts of home and lasagna to downtown city, where Blythe Baxter, employee at the Littlest Pet Shop, seeks closure on the fate of her mother. Together, the two and their companions must march into the dark of a Northwoods ghost town for the answer. So,
great.
This is from chapter. So this is from chapter 5, which I was recommended by Taylor
personally.
this is where Garfield is explaining to Blythe why he is here. I'm just going to read this. As I have already related Garfield's journey in preceding chapters in my own words, I have condensed his account to primarily consider details that fell through the cracks of mine. And this starts dialogue from Garfield. The other night, I had a dream in which I desired to send a kitten I particularly hate with a passion to a city far away from John, Odie, and me. I had oft tried to send him by airmail to Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, and later to the North Pole after John had banned me from sending him to Abu Dhabi. The kitten's name is Nermal, and he often proclaims himself the world's cutest kitten. Anyway, in this dream, Odie and I had built a programmable teleporter in John's garage, and both of us were playing in the yard. But when we heard Nermal approaching, we hid in the bush, but to no avail. He saw us, and after a brief argument, we prevailed upon him to take him to the teleporter. I decided to use Odie as a test case, but an accident sent both of us far away before Nermal's eyes. End scene.
Wow. All right, so I'm just gonna, don't mind me, I'm just gonna block Taylor Brown's email address to our Gmail. Just real quick.
Is any of this canon? Is Nermal a thing in I am gonna announce this because this
Garfield
is a safe space. I'm illiterate to Garfield canon, apparently.
Yeah, Nermal's real. Nermal's
real?
Nermal's real. Nermal's like the gray small lady cat.
Sure. You know, the small lady cat.
I don't know actually if it's a lady. It just has big eyelashes, which is, in cartoon speak means it's a lady. I don't know if it's a lady. But yeah, Nermal. We all know Nermal.
This, Taylor, in the kindest way possible, this feels like a level 500 fanfiction, and I need you to scale back to like a level 100 fanfiction. Preferably within some sort of canon.
Yeah.
I have a lot to study on before we meet next week. I feel thoroughly unprepared for the first time in my life.
Wow,
so,
love that.
And I don't like that on my own show. So I need to go apparently study up on Garfield lore.
Yeah.
So I'll see you all next week. But as we say in the Pacific Northwest,
get bit.
And get Nermaled, I guess.
I guess.
Ooh.
Into the Twilight is an Earbud Media production. You can follow us on Twitter at Into the Twilight or on TikTok at Into the Twilight Show. You can find me at Cody Corral on Twitter and Allie at Alexandria Does. And you can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Into the Twilight. We have merch, so much stuff. All those links are in the episode description. And make sure to rate and review us on your favorite podcast hosting platform. It really helps the show. Thanks. Bye.
You've been listening to Earbud Media Production. Earbud Media, audio for everyone.